Welcome to the September 28th, 2021 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives, and man, was it a week. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And man, we have lots of news that you probably will deem old news by this point, just by nature of the way that the internet works. A day late is a day late, is a year late. But we have a lot of great stuff, including a surprise Nintendo Direct, which there always is a surprise Nintendo Direct, and we always, don't quite hit it on the schedule. But, what are you going to do, right?
Of course.
But we did have some other stuff to talk about real quick before we get to it, but there's plenty to talk about with Nintendo Direct, for sure.
For sure.
Go ahead, Lotus. A couple of starting off at the top are a couple of your stories here.
Yeah, so the first bit of news is a crippling disaster for the Death Stranding director's cut. Do you know what this is?
Not so much running, or it's a lot easier. Oh,
I don't know anything about that. What I do know is 0 out of 10 information. The soda you drink is no longer Monster.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
It's in-universe. It's like Bridges, some kind of Bridges brand.
I mean, to be fair,
it makes more sense that way.
It makes...
There's the world's ended, but Monster's still making drinks.
Also, like Norman Reedus' show was advertised in the game.
I think that still is there, actually.
That's really funny. It's just really funny to me because it's just like, man, you are not even hiding the anachronisms.
Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, fuck it. But
that was literally it. I just wanted to mention it's not Monster anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I like it better that way. At least they've done the work to have the game in perpetuity. Though there are plenty of likenesses in this game, including the main character, Lindsay Wagner from The Bionic Woman, and
Junji
Conan O'Brien
Ito.
and Jeff Keighley. So, yeah.
And I was saying Junji Ito.
Oh, and Junji Ito,
and
yeah.
Guillermo del Toro, obviously.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, lots of them. So,
Guillermo del Toro is quite prominent.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot. Mads Mikkelsen, I forgot about that too.
Mads Mikkelsen's also very prominent.
He's like the main antagonist, isn't he? So anyway, don't answer that. I think he... spoilers.
I mean, but, he's involved.
There is a bit of a debate about this version of the game, Lotus. Some people are saying that making the traversal easier defeats the whole purpose of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it does, because the game is about building networks and connecting with people, and it's like a meta thing that happens.
And it's also the labor of doing it is a big part of it.
I will acknowledge that when you first start playing the game, it sucks. It's rough because there's no network. Yeah, it's supposed to. But yeah. I wonder if they can get away with it for the PS5 version because it's been some years. We get it.
Well, they have included many quality of life improvements to the point where, people are saying, yeah, but the trudging was the point.
Well, trudging is a point, but I would appreciate not having the stuff you built disintegrate after a time, like the roads.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's a thing or not, but
because that time rain,
oh yeah,
accelerates time. So eventually, the
Makes
stuff
sense.
you build will break down. It could take a while, but it'll happen. And let the road stay. I know that's contrary to the universe, but come on.
Yeah, I gotcha. And how about this next one?
Yeah, so we had mentioned that. I forgot if we mentioned this first part last week. That I think we did. That Apple won a lawsuit against Epic that said that producers... no, the other way around. Epic had won a lawsuit against Apple that said that producers could take payments their own way and not have to do it directly through the Apple Store, which Apple takes a 30% cut.
Yeah.
But a follow-up of that was Apple being petty, and I think they effectively... I don't know if they hardcore banned it, but I think they made Fortnite inaccessible for a couple of years or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just a douchebag thing to do.
Well, here's the thing. Epic did the hard work for everybody else, I guess.
They did. They
took it on the chin. I can't
believe I'm rooting for Epic. I feel like like a traitor doing it. But I mean, if they're right, they're right. Apple's a bigger asshole this time.
I mean, it's kind of like one of those things where, like, you have to pick who's being the bigger asshole, and obviously,
it's
like,
clearly Apple this time.
Yeah, and Epic is right. Just because somebody is a general asshole doesn't mean they're, like, wrong about everything.
Yep.
And them being selfish actually benefits everybody else. Let's just put it that way, too.
I don't want to give 1/3 of everything to fucking Apple.
Yeah, fuck them. They're the biggest company in the world, literally the biggest company in the world.
Yeah, they're going to be petty about this. The infinite money company's going to be petty about this. Fuck you.
Eat shit. Who gives a fuck about Apple? Anyway. And moving on from that. Oh, okay. Did you see? I assume you saw the trailer for this.
I don't know if it was a trailer. Like,
you didn't see that?
Well, it was just straight up the opening credits.
Oh,
except
there you go.
Live action.
Yeah. So
when I say the opening credits, but live action, I mean exactly that's the opening credits. But yeah, it was like a shot for shot. Like, it's the anime opening credits, but live action, which I found it off-putting. On one hand,
well, we have to say what it is.
Excuse me. The live action Cowboy Bebop on Netflix.
There you go.
So, whoops. Yeah, I dropped
launching
the ball on that one.
later next month or
November. I honestly found it kind of off-putting. Like, you're gonna use Tank. Like, there's no way you're not gonna use Tank, the theme. But like, a 1-to-1 version of the opening credits that we're familiar with from the anime, I'm conflicted because on one hand it's like, hey, we know the anime, but on the other hand it's like, well, I've already seen this. Not to mention, precisely because it's animated, there's certain things that, like, just don't translate quite the same to live action. Like, seeing just a dude dynamically pivot and point a gun, it's like, well, yeah, okay. It looks cool when a cartoon does it.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of both Sin City and Speed Racer, the movies of those. And that's not a bad thing. I actually like both of those movies, or all three of those movies, I guess, because two Sin City movies. But
yeah, I haven't seen the second Sin City movie.
It's actually really good. It got very much overlooked.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, because it came out like 100 years later.
It's also
like 302. It's like, what are you doing?
it also happened like after Frank Miller publicly fell off the deep end.
Okay.
So that there's a good reason for that. But anyway. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Cowboy Bebop fan, and a lot of anime fans from our generation are, because it just was one of those really cool animes that came out on Toonami and
yeah,
Adult
I was
Swim.
Gonna say, like, it was from the era and it was on TV.
Yeah, it was accessible to Americans, and it was really cool and moody and something a little bit different than, your typical shonen anime, and that was very refreshing at the time.
It was, I mean, there was a general overarching story, but it was mostly episodic.
Yeah, that's also another good point, is that it's very much kind of a Monster of the Week. There are a couple, like, like lore episodes,
you still don't need to watch them to get the final episode. It's like, there's a bad guy, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Past catches up with you and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but I am very much wondering if this is a limited series or they're going to change something.
The thing that everybody's pointing out is that Ed is conspicuously absent from the opening credits.
Yeah.
And they're like, is Ed going to come up in season 2? What are they doing with Ed? Ein's here. We have Ein. But speaking of season 2, like, the opening credits has I noticed they had Pierrot LaFaux. Number
which is
1, what the fuck? Number 2, he was like a late episode character.
Yeah, and it's also one of the, like, most horrifying episodes.
How are you going to translate that? Like, I mean, the guy looked the part, but, like, you can't replicate that shit.
Yeah, he's basically a cartoon character in a world, even in that world.
Yeah,
he's a cartoon character.
Well, that's a good thing to point out is that Cowboy Bebop is obviously an anime, it's a cartoon, but like they try to handle things like there's some over the top stuff, but like
it's grounded.
Yeah, like you expect people to follow the laws of physics and like if like get injured when they're hit and stuff, but Pierre LaFaux like operates like a cartoon character, and like how do you fight that?
And he's absolutely terrifying for it.
He is fucking. By the way, calling it now, this is a little thing it's just in my head, but it's just a little thing. I bet you they don't do it if they have an episode of Pierre LaFaux. When he does his maniacal laugh and he grinds his teeth, and you like very loudly hear his teeth grinding, you're just like, oh, I bet you that's not there, because like, come on.
But yeah, that's like one of my favorite episodes, just because it's
fascinating.
It's so dark.
Oh,
it's a really dark and depressing episode.
And by the way, can I also throw out, like, do you think they're gonna dare to do Mushroom Samba? And if
that is a wonderful episode, by the way.
I could see Spike walking up the infinite staircase. I'll be happy to see that. But a lot of that episode is wacky.
See, I hope they deviate, because I don't want a remake.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was saying about the 1-to-1 anyway. Like, I've seen it. Like, I was going to mention later on, like, I don't know if I'm going to bother watching the show, except for maybe Pierre LaFaux, just to see what the fuck they do with them.
Yeah, I mean, then again, Sin City was like one of the like most one-for-one adaptations I've ever seen of a comic book, and I loved it for
that. That one got me because I never read Sin City.
Well, I read it pretty much right before the movie came out, and they even got things like down to like how it was drawn, like the angles.
Okay.
Like they replicated the entire thing.
I will say, by the way, man, Elijah Wood's scary when he feels like it.
Oh yeah, well, in the comic, imagine reading in the comic, it's just like terrifying. But anyway,
I mean that's true, but like seeing a Hellsing character with the pure shadow except for the glowy glasses, but like they actually pulled that off in real life?
I view it as Sailor Moon, actually. Yeah, that's the first time I remember that trope. But anyway.
Actually, that's a good point. That was done in Sailor Moon. But, like, pulling that off in real life is impressive.
Yeah, no, but like I said, there are ways that you can adapt things like 1-for-1 that do turn out well.
Psycho.
Psycho. But like it has to be for a purpose. I mean, like, here's the thing: not everybody likes anime. And my wife is one of them. But she is excited to see this because it's not anime.
Yeah.
So I mean, you say what you want, but what we have seen of it, like, looks. I think it looks authentic.
They're doing it as authentically as they can. But one other thing I'll point out, by the way, Spike's fighting style. Good luck.
Yeah.
It's too smooth. Good luck with that.
I don't even know if John Cho has any.
Well, stunt double or not, but like, good luck.
Yeah, he's like one of the best hand-to-hand fighters in that universe. Like, oddly enough,
is a badass hand-to-hand. Like, I mean, I know this is in the movie, not the show, but that fight with Electro with the broom, that was like the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I love the movie. Is something to be seen. It really like that.
Speaking
that movie,
of which, that movie's villain is fucking scary.
that villain and that end fight scene, man. That end fight scene is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like one of the cool Tokyo Tower, or was it Eiffel Tower? I don't know.
If it's it
was on some
the
tower.
Tokyo Tower is red
basically
Eiffel Tower.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing. But I'm a gigantic Cowboy Bebop fan. I just want it to be good. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. As usual, I'm probably not going to bother with it unless people really hype it, or unless Pierre LaFaux comes up. Because, like, again, like, what?
Yeah. Well,
when he's doing his like triple backflip while hanging in the air, like, well, okay.
I'll let you know if it's worth it. I'll let you know if it's worth it. For sure. Now, the next thing, it was a surprise and kind of quiet. Like, not enough people are talking about it. The PS4 got an update that stealthily got rid of the CMOS issue. Do you remember the CMOS issue?
I remember the abbreviation, but I actually don't remember what that was.
So essentially, this is the thing that will basically not allow you to play your games after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, where your PS4 becomes a paperweight once PSN goes down.
Correct.
I forgot
that is
about that.
no
Yeah.
longer a problem.
Okay.
You will be able to use your system after PSN.
Good shit. Although, this is going to be a very fringe thing. Probably most people won't have to worry about it. But if you, like, find a new in-box PS4 years down the line, you'll have a problem. Well, then again, you could probably just find the firmware updates online somewhere.
I was just gonna say, you know, pirates will have
this
come
will be
up with a
something they'll
solution.
keep. Yeah,
exactly. Anyway, moving on from that, did you hear about the Disney Classic Games Collection?
Yeah, they released it again, but more complete, so it has all versions of the Jungle Book. I didn't realize there were multiple versions. And it has Super Nintendo, Aladdin.
Not only that, but the Game Boy one and Game Boy Color versions of Aladdin, which are all Capcom games, by the way, not Virgin games like the rest.
Yeah, Virgin was Sega, and Super Nintendo was Capcom.
Well, except for Lion King. Lion King and Jungle Book. Actually, Lion King and Jungle Book were all Virgin.
Excuse me. I just meant Aladdin because I don't even know the other stuff.
Yeah, so this is a more comprehensive version of the game that they released, and it's very surprising because it bridges different games.
You know, a lot of people
talk
about
companies.
A lot of people mention that they like the Super Nintendo version more. I grew up with the Genesis version. I just kind of like swinging a sword around, even though that didn't really happen until the end of the movie. He gets a sword for like a second. But one thing I will say is, at least I don't know about the Super Nintendo one, but at least the Sega one had Shinji Mikami working on it.
Yeah. It's one of those where like the games are both good.
They are
so,
both
like,
good.
Who cares?
The Super Nintendo one I remember throwing me because like I grew up with the Genesis version, and then I see Super Nintendo, I'm like, you jump on enemies like Mario.
See, just like you, I grew up with the Genesis, so I had the Genesis one. The Genesis game, I believe, is the third best-selling game on the system, so almost everybody had it.
Yeah, and like and the first two were cheating. It was like Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 because they came with the system.
Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, and then
it's
Aladdin.
Just like Donkey Kong Country 1 is like the second best-selling on the SNES because the first is like Super Mario World.
Yeah, exactly. The pack-in, right?
Yeah, it's like you can't, like, you must get this game if you're getting a Super Nintendo, like, with some exceptions.
I mean, to be fair, I think this is including global numbers, and in Japan they almost never get a pack-in for any reason.
Oh, that's true. I remember, like, the Wii Sports was, like...
Separate.
I was going to say it was like earth-shattering in America, but that's because every Wii came with one, but in Japan, it was a separate title.
You even have to buy, like, AC adapter separate in Japan.
Oh my god. This is one of those things, I've mentioned this before with, like, the price of anime in the West. Like, I know it's very hard to influence another country's,
Japan.
like, marketing. It's very hard to do that, because what are you going to do, complain in the comment section? But, like... prices of anime and pack-in AC adapters, like America was not putting up with that shit that Japan's putting up with.
Yeah, no.
You want me to pay $100 for 10 episodes? Fuck you.
Yeah, we don't put up with crap like that.
We put up with a lot. It's like, well, that's how they do things. But there's certain things, like, I literally can't plug in my system without buying separately. Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, to be fair, there is a good reason behind that. It's not them just being cheap. I mean, they do charge you for it, extra for it. But the reasoning behind it is because if it's included, then it falls under the category of a computer
it's like
or something like
part.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Some esoteric bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just skirt.
So maybe coincidentally, America just doesn't have that, like, caveat in their bureaucracy.
They don't. But yeah, it's really stupid. It's just like how they get around gambling there.
I don't even know what you want. Like, the Famicom is the family computer. Like, give me an AC adapter.
Yeah, no, it's just like an old archaic law that they haven't updated. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Moving on, Limited Run Games did announce a new game that they are going to open up a limited pre-order for on October 1st, and it's Demon's Tilt. Yeah,
this might surprise you coming from me, but I think I'm going to get this one.
Demon's Tilt I am going to say it right now, is the best pinball game, video game ever.
It's like borderline H.R. Giger pinball, because it's got that. I mean, I just think that because it has that expressionless woman in the center, like that famous Giger painting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Famous enough to show up in Darkseid.
It is the spiritual. It is the spiritual successor to
Demon Crash.
Demon Crash and Alien Crush.
Okay.
But it is made by fans of those two games, but it is certainly the successor to it.
Yeah, I've mentioned, I think, a few times, I'm not really big on pinball, but pinball video games I'm more forgiving toward, because it's just like, who knows what can happen when it's not a physical board, or whatever you call it, machine.
So, like I was going to say, this is not a simulation of a real pinball table in the slightest. It is a video game-ass pinball game. It does all kinds of crap that you can never do on a real table, and it's really amazing what they do. And also the music is some of the coolest music I've ever heard in a video game.
Yeah, I love stuff like that, where it's like, what's this from? Like, pinball. It's just like Shatter's soundtrack. What's this from? A not Arkanoid game. What?
Yeah, but also the best not Arkanoid game ever, pretty much. But yeah, Demon still is a fantastic experience. It can be a long or short one depending on how good you are. There's a lot of different modes.
Well, also sometimes you just have a bad run, like the ball falls between the flippers. Like,
I mean, it's pinball.
Oh, you already lost? Yeah, but like if you have a good run, oh man.
It also has tons of bonus modes that have all kinds of sub-tables and all kinds of crazy crap going on. It is not just the pinball table you see. There's tons to do in it, and I still haven't seen it all.
And I mean, this is true even with real pinball machines too, but I always like it when there are missions to accomplish.
Yeah,
it makes you feel like you're doing something other than just not letting the ball fall to the infinite abyss.
Yeah, so that started basically in the 80s and then continued on.
I remember seeing that even with that old-timey Mario pinball game you were playing at that one, what was it, Too Many Games or something?
Sure. They just kind of progressed that way. That's kind of why I don't like the electromechanical ones as much. I like the
it's like nothing but
state
scoreboards
ones. Yeah, exactly. It's just like
and the new ones, you see the little stuff on the computer screen. Oh, you're entering the door of the mansion or whatever. It's just kind of fun. It's like those pachinko machines where the more recent ones are like video gamey, like you're just playing pachinko, but it's like, oh, my Golden Axe character is advancing. Yes, that exists.
Yep. Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I own the game. I will buy a physical copy of it because it's one of my favorites. It's just one of those I'm gonna double dip on. It's just I can't resist. It's really cool. It also came out this comes out a way later. like this game's been out for years. But it deserves a physical, for sure. Moving on from that, one of my classic favorite shmups, but not because it's good.
This was. I remember seeing this on the Wii and the PS2 back in the day.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite shmups of all time, but not. It is a really fun shmup.
Yeah, it's legitimately
that's not why I like
pretty good, but yeah, Castle Shikigami 2 is really, if you've heard of it, it might be for its comically bad voice acting.
Not only is it comically bad, but there's a lot of it. A lot of it. Which by the way, is very surprising.
By the way,
for shmup.
I'm sorry, but is this the one with Time Gal, or was that 3?
That is 3. 3 had a good translation.
And Time Gal was like she looked more like a normal person and not like a weird anime character. And she can still stop time. It's crazy.
They definitely added some realism to her. But yeah, Castle Shikigami 2 is just known for having an incomprehensible translation with lots of lines.
This is before YouTube existed, where sometimes you would find funny soundboards of House of the Dead 2. You just click the play button. The chaos in the city is increasing. Castle Shikigami and Chaos Wars were the other games you could find.
This game is known for having extensive conversations with the main characters during the game. Every single character has extensive conversations with the bosses. And then there are a whole bunch of variants of those. If you are playing with a second player, every single combination of characters is different. It has different conversations.
That's actually kind of awesome, but at the same time, if you're playing 2 players with a shooter, you're both just going to sit here and listen to this hour-long conversation?
I mean, that's the reason why you play, though. It's incomprehensible. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but I mean, if it
really
were done better, you'd be like, can we just play the game? If it's one player, then I could see sitting through it like, oh, I want to see what the story is. But when you have a friend just also awkwardly sitting there just the whole time...
Yeah, but I don't know what version of this. I don't know whether we're getting... I find it very hard to believe that the butchered version is coming.
I would love that, though. I would.
I would love it, too. Even as an option.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, like, also, bonus mode, like, this.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, like, again, Chaos Wars. Do you know what the funny thing is with Chaos Wars voice acting?
Like, the guy, like, hired his, like, family that lived in his house to
they had, like,
voice
the last
characters.
names. Yeah. It's the same thing with, like, King's Quest V's in-house voice acting. Like, have you ever played King's Quest V?
No.
Like, like, because there's a scene where you're captured by harpies, and they're like, oh, should we eat him, should we not? But, like, the voice acting in the game is generally, like, it's decent, but you could tell they're amateurs.
Yeah.
But the harpy stuff is like, ooh.
Very much cringy. But moving on from that, other shmup news, like very surprising shmup news.
This is legitimately shocking, yeah.
This is three separate releases that have multiple games on it. Which will so we had talked about Cotton Remake coming out in the West, which was legitimately shocking.
That I knew about for months.
Which is the best way to play Cotton at all. The new version is really good, but also they made a definitive version of the old version, which never had a definitive version. It was kind of straddled across the arcade and an X68000 version, and they kind of jammed them together and made it a best of.
It makes me think of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Like, wouldn't it be cool if they made a PS1 graphics version that included Maria? Like, that would be it.
The PSP version is like that.
Fair enough.
And that's on the PS4 currently. So you could play it.
Well, you know what? We're saved then.
The PS4 version is the definitive version of Symphony of the Night. It is fantastic. But anyway, they announced that in Japan that they were going to come out with another Cotton collection that had that was called Cotton Guardian Force Saturn Tribute, which has 3 extremely rare Saturn games on it. Cotton 2, Cotton Boomerang, and Guardian Force, which is an unrelated game but made by the same company.
I was going to say Guardian Force, is that a wink? But I guess there you go.
No. It is a top-down tank game that kind of plays like almost like a twin-stick shooter before there were twin sticks. Kind of like an Ikurai Warriors. Like you have to turn your turret.
Oh, the twisty knob thing.
Yeah, you could do it with you could do it with buttons in the game, but you can also use like the shoulder buttons, which is what I used to do on the Saturn. But it works really well. It's a really good game. All 3 of those games were going to come out on a collection for the Switch and PS4 in Japan, but we got a confirmation release from Strictly Limited and Einen. So Strictly Limited is, of course, for Europe, and Einen is for the US. And the cool thing about Einen is that they sell retail games.
Sure.
And the retail games are sold on Amazon. You don't have to pre-order them or anything like that. So I'm really excited because Einen has been really awesome. They've been releasing really, really great releases. But along with that, they said that they were releasing 2 other games, 2 other releases that hadn't even been confirmed for Japan, which is Cotton 100%, which is the Super Famicom Super Famicom exclusive game, and it's going to be translated, which is amazing. And Panorama Cotton. Do you even know what Panorama Cotton is?
I don't know anything about Cotton.
Okay, so Panorama Cotton is an everything Cotton is exceedingly rare, except for the recent releases.
Yeah.
But it's one of the most expensive Genesis games. Panorama Cotton plays like Space Harrier rather than like the shmups that Cotton is used to. So that actually leaves only Cotton Rainbow as the only one that hasn't been pegged for release, which is really insane. Like, all of them are getting mainstream US releases, which nobody could fucking guess that. And Cotton Rainbow was the one for the Dreamcast, so I don't suspect that one will ever come over unless somebody does some wizardry. But anyway, but I'm really excited. I mean, they're going to be affordable too, because Einen Strictly Limited is on the expensive side, but Einen is right in line with the rest of like retro game pricing. Usually their games are like $30 or $40.
Sure.
That's very reasonable for these titles. They're all really good games, so let's do it. They're all going to be in English too for the first time.
Marvelous.
It's amazing. Yeah. Now, the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna like plow through this Nintendo Direct. But there's lots to talk about. But I'm gonna go through some of the stuff quickly because we have to. There's a Monster Hunter Rise update called Sunbreak that looks like it's adding spooky dragon type enemies. Looks pretty cool. Mario Party Superstars is coming to Switch with some classic boards on it. I like the idea of Mario Party, but it's incredibly infuriating. Why don't they just? I don't know. I like WarioWare much better.
Sure.
I'd rather stick to those. So I'm not really excited for that. There is a new game from Yoko Taro and Yosuke Saito.
With Keiichi Okabe reprising his role as composer.
There you go. Called Voice of the Cards. The Isle Dragon Roars. A really interesting card-based game. Like, everything is a card. Like,
normally I'm not really into the card stuff. Like, I've played some, and I've liked them, like Bait and Kaidos. Mm-hmm. I beat that game more than once, but I don't go hunting down card fighters. But fucking Yoko Taro?
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, I'm in.
The art is really nice. And it looks... They could potentially do a lot, because when you don't show movement or things kind of happen off screen, you can get away with more. So I'm thinking that there are probably going to be some dark elements that wouldn't otherwise be able to be put into a game. That's just kind of my feeling on this kind of thing.
Sure.
But it looks neat. Looks really interesting. Even the moving around on the map, like everything is like a grid of cards. So
yeah, it's quite clever. Like, I've never seen a game that's taken it to that extreme.
Everything is card based, including your characters, which is pretty cool.
Everything's a card. Even you're a card.
You sure are. You sure are a card. Anyway, I've been waiting for this for a while, but Disco Elysium: The Final Cut is finally coming to Switch. I've been waiting for this because I figured I would probably play this game best on Switch, just because it's a long form RPG. It's not very graphical intensive, and I heard it was fucking amazing, so I'm really looking forward to it. I still don't know much about it, and I'm going to keep it that way until I play it, but apparently it's, amazing. And it's an investigation game, which I'm all about, so I'm all for it, and I hear it's very unique, which I'm all for that. And Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is getting its second round of DLC. The biggest thing that I saw was that Pura and Robbie are a team character that you could be the young versions of them, which is pretty awesome. So in Breath of the Wild, they are like the old like engineer people that you could bring like, you know, artifacts to and things like that. But this is them young and like with like robotic, like all kinds of robotic stuff, which is really cool. And also seeing like an old character be a badass young version of themselves is really pretty neat.
That's always fun.
Yeah, I'm all about that. Also, like, I think Breath of the Wild takes place 100 years after the Calamity. So they're very old. Considering that they look like they're going to be in their 20s or at least teenagers. So, Jesus. Anyway, Chocobo GP, I did not expect this.
Yeah.
So, a sequel to Chocobo Racing from the PlayStation. Yeah. It is Chocobo Kart Racing. Not much to say there other than there's Vivi in it, there is Gilgamesh in it, and Chocobos. So, you know, if you're into it, you're into it. They also said, about Smash, calm your pants. We will have an entire like event dedicated to the final character.
I want to see people's faces when they realize or when they reveal that it's Beck from Mighty Number 9.
Fucking Beck. I couldn't even like.
I would laugh, man. It would be like box art Mega Man and Tekken Cross Street Fighter. That was a riot. Or Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
I couldn't even pick a character that does what you did better.
Yeah, like at first I had posted on Twitter like, watch it be Samanosuke from Onimusha, and everyone's like, huh? But like then I thought Beck would be like, oh man, it's a redundant character that no one wants.
Yeah, exactly, and was also the biggest disappointment like of Kickstarter history.
The only other troll thing I could think of would be like a particularly a particularly unpopular, because they're from a game no one played, Fire Emblem character. Yeah, like the main character of like the one you haven't played, like whatever one that is.
Old version of Marth.
No, like specifically the DS compressed graphics looking Marth from Shadow Dragon.
Yeah, nah.
Thanks.
Like pre-rendered Marth,
or like N64 looking Ike. Actually, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
I mean, he's on GameCube, but he looks N64.
It's God only knows, but you know whoever it is, it will be big. They're saving it up. So
like after Sephiroth, this is gonna be serious.
Yeah,
it'd be great. It's all the characters that were relegated to Mii status. So like we get actual Cuphead, actual Sans, actual Travis Touchdown.
I would think that it would have to be a Nintendo character, because you have to bookend it with your
you're not
going to
wrap up with a third party or something.
Yeah. So I don't know, like Waluigi. Like I don't know.
Nah, I would love that, but no. You know what it's gonna be? They're gonna bookend it with Kirby. At first I was thinking, oh, Meta Knight, King Dedede, but they're already here. So it's either gonna be like very disappointing, like Waddle Dee, or it's gonna be like, how do I control this character? Like Master Hand is just a cosmic entity, and you're like, how would I play this if I could control him? It's gonna be like a Kirby final boss, like the eyeball from like 64. Like, what the fuck?
What if it's just, you know how they have Rob? What if it's just a fucking Virtual Boy?
Oh my god, it's just a Virtual Boy.
I don't know. But see, the thing is, like,
it'll be Snake and Zero Suit Samus, but they'll restore his ass and her breasts. That's what it's gonna be.
God. Oh god.
Snake's dummy thick ass cheeks are back.
All the vagina bones. But yeah, I don't.
That wasn't it. I think it was her chest.
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking. I'm going over the internet whiner.
Vagina bones is an incredibly embarrassing meme.
Yeah, like the internet whiner talking points. But yeah, I don't know who it could be, because like everybody is very well represented. Like even the third parties that I would hope would be represented are already
Tekken?
there. Like Terry was just like, wow, like they like I didn't expect Nintendo to ask SNK to do that.
It's funny because I thought they would go the King of Fighters route, but like who cares about Kyo? But like they went the Fatal Fury route. Huh.
Well, he is the face of the company. Come on, let's face it.
I guess he is, but like he's the Fatal Fury guy. His fucking hat says Fatal Fury on it.
I know.
Makes no sense.
I know.
You know, it'd be funny if they brought in Ryo Sakazaki. Like,
yeah,
nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, nobody cares about Art of Fighting. Come on.
Not even Art of Fighting, but just Ryo is just so generic and like a direct ripoff of Ryu.
Yeah.
Although I learned
Go
recently,
ahead and play Art of Fighting 1, I dare you.
But no, I learned recently from a Guru Larry video that Ryo might not be as much of a ripoff as we thought because his character designer was the guy who did Ryu from Street Fighter 1.
Oh, jeez. So
it's
you
like,
know, so it's like making fun of Beck for looking like Mega Man. I gotcha.
Yeah, it's like it's a ripoff of Mega Man. Like, what? Kind of.
But yeah, Street Fighter 2. A lot of people don't know this was made by a completely different team than Street Fighter 1. I guess it shows, but yeah, and they didn't even like the first game, and for good reason.
They should bring in a Street Fighter, like, because I mean it's still Ryu. They should bring in just a random Street Fighter 1 opponent that nobody knows who the hell it is.
Oh man, like the ninja guy or
yeah, like the ninja. I don't even know who the fuck that is. Like Ganon Eagle at least showed up in other things.
Yeah, I don't even know what his name is.
I remember seeing Eagle in Capcom vs SNK 2, and I didn't realize what a hilarious joke that was. Well, it was a cool character, but it's like, what?
He was a character also used in the Alpha games. He was pretty prominent there.
Oh,
so
fair enough.
That's why.
Well,
the Alpha games have a lot of the characters from Street Fighter 1.
Well, in that case, Maki from Final Fight 2. It's like, remember her?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
you know what they need to do? You know what they need to do? I know this isn't Nintendo anymore, but like the Captain Commando crew, do it. Captain Commando, Captain Ninja, Captain... I mean,
I would be really happy with Mike Hagar. Just Mike Hagar and everything, honestly. But, I mean, like, all of the representatives of the classic big Japanese series are there. I mean, like, think about it. You have Mega Man, you have Pac-Man, you have Simon Belmont and Richter Belmont.
You have Kazuya, you have Terry.
Yeah, like all of these...
You have Hero from Dragon Quest.
Snake. You have the Dragon Quest hero, you have Cloud, you have like all of these representatives
Bayonetta.
of like nostalgia, right? And like of that era of NES and like Super Nintendo era, I can't think of anybody who isn't represented that's like a major character that isn't owned by Disney or something. So you know, like, Jesus Christ. What if they added, like a Disney character or something? I don't know.
Sora.
Yeah, Sora.
Boy, I would love that.
That would never happen. I mean, everybody, Sans and Gino are already represented, just not as characters. They're Mii fighters. So, I mean, who could it be? I have no fucking clue.
Cecil from Final Fantasy IV.
Banjo-Kazooie.
They're already there.
They're already there, yeah, exactly. Master Chief. Who could it be?
I've seen people want Doom Guy. I do not particularly want Doom Guy.
No, I don't. He does. First of all, he only looks good from one perspective, which is
where you can't see him
through your eyes. Exactly. Yeah, so who the fuck knows, but we'll see. But it was good that they were like, yo, slow your roll, we know you want this, like, hold up. But this was really cool. They announced a brand new Kirby game and the first ever 3D perspective game.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, the closest they've ever come to that I can think of was
Kirby 64.
64, but it was still a 2D game. It's just that, like, you could only move left and right, but the camera would turn, so it gives you the illusion of 3D, because it's like, we can show you 3 dimensions now, but it was just a clever 2D game. So an actual 3D game is quite interesting.
And it's called The Forgotten Land, and it looks like it's going to be expanding upon the meta lore that, like, Kirby 64 had about Earth being like fucking trash.
Yeah, you're not even on Earth. It's just one of the places you can go.
Yeah,
Like
so
level 5 or something.
Yeah, and it's a post-apocalyptic version of Earth.
Yeah, everything is called a star, even though they're planets, and Earth is like the frozen star. And you don't even realize this. Like, if you look closely at it, you're like, oh, those are continents.
Yep. And and the entire planet is cold and populated by robots.
Yeah, I was going to mention the enemies are like wind-up robots. It's pretty disturbing. Kirby always does something like that. There's always some surprisingly creepy final boss, and there's little hints that things aren't quite right, even though you're playing a cutesy game.
Yeah, and and as time goes on, a lot of his enemies get more and more cosmic and eldritch.
Well, I mentioned before, look at Kirby 64's final boss, and listen to the fucking music. You would never guess it's a Kirby music.
Yeah. So, I'm really looking forward to this game. It looks amazing. It looks like a lot of fun. At first, I thought it was a Splatoon game, because it kind of looked like that, but more on that later. But it looks amazing. They also announced that a big update is coming to Animal Crossing, but they will have a direct in October about it. I think they're going to be adding, like, ghosts. Like, there is already a ghost in Animal Crossing, but I think they're going to add, like, multiple ghosts. For Halloween. And because they're adding some kind of what looks to be a spooky annex to the museum. So, but they kind of just teased it, so they didn't give any details or anything like that. Moving on from that, Mario Golf Super Rush is getting a free update with Koopa Troopa and Ninja as playable characters.
Yeah, Ninja is a little jumping jack man from Mario Brothers
Mario 2. Yeah.
You just jump on his head, and he'll just carry you upward.
That's amazing. Koopa Troopa has always been my favorite character to be in Mario Kart, ever since the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I grew up with the 64 one, so I was like Wario, and I didn't realize that he replaced Koopa Troopa.
In fact, they even say in the lore that Wario stole his cart.
Oh, that's great.
In Nintendo Power, it has like punch out collectible cards.
Yeah,
and it specifically says that Wario stole Koopa Troopa's cart.
That's fantastic.
He also has like the same stats as Koopa Troopa. So
that I never knew. That's great.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the character. It makes no sense. It's about the cart.
Yeah. So, it's really awesome. I am really looking. I really love Koopa Troopa. I still use him when I play Mario Kart 8. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, Ninja's just cool addition.
Yeah, something about him I just kind of like.
Yeah, it's fun. I just like the Mario 2 enemies that barely get any love, like the Shy Guys and the Sniffets and all them.
Well, Shy Guys get tons of love. Sniffets, last time I saw Sniffet was like Mario RPG, and I thought they were from there at the time.
Yeah, they look like they are. Then they did an announcement about Disney Magical World 2. I didn't know much about that. Apparently, it's a ported from like the 3DS or something like that. And this is very odd. They announced Knights of the Old Republic, but not the new one that they announced on the PlayStation one. Like, OG, like, Xbox-ass KOTOR is coming to the Switch, which makes... it'll probably be a good fit, but, like, they announced it, but they didn't really differentiate it. So, like, unless you knew what you were looking at, you'd be like, this new KOTOR game looks terrible. But no, it's the old KOTOR game, which I find really interesting. But, it makes a lot of sense. They have put out, like, all of those, BioWare games from that era on the Switch, including, like, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. So... makes sense. Also, it's a really great game, if you ever played it. Also, Dying Light 2 Stay Human Cloud version, not something I'm going to be after. Another triangle strategy tease that looks like a lot of fun. It looks like really great, in fact. And another Metroid Dread tease as well. Look at who I am. I will be buying that day one. and playing the crap out of it. I will absolutely love that. And then they announced a really big surprise, but there is a caveat to it. So it's called Nintendo Online Expansion Plus. So they essentially said that they are going to add both N64 and Genesis games to Nintendo Online, but they are going to charge you more for it. And they didn't specify how much or how it was going to work. But apparently you'll be able to play like the basic multiplayer functionality and, you know, the Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, but not, you know, these two systems if you have like the OG version. Which, you know, what are they going to charge me $1 more or $2? Nintendo has always been very cheap with their online. It's actually surprising how cheap it is. It's $20 a year, which is insane. Actually, I think that is like it's worth more than that. I mean, the online isn't the best, but like the games that you get with it are really good. Like the Super Nintendo and Nintendo emulation are really good, and they have a lot of the stuff that you would want. But the N64 stuff that they announced, they came out and were like, "Yo, you're getting this. They hit all of the heavy hitters. They started by saying, "Hey, Ocarina of Time is coming." Of course it is. But Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Yoshi's Story, Ocarina of Time. This was like the one third-party game, Winback. Swery 65's own Winback. Have you ever played Winback?
No.
It is one of the very first third-person shooters with a cover mechanic. Like way before Gears of War.
Before every single game took it.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, Swery. I think that's one of Swery's first games. Mario Tennis, Dr. Mario 64, which is surprising because that was like, I think that was the last game released for the system.
I'm pretty excited about Mario Tennis just because that game never
Mario Tennis is amazing.
That game never had online because it's a 64 game.
Yeah. I forgot to mention all of these games have online multiplayer, which is amazing. Sin and Punishment, which is a fantastic game. Everybody should play that one.
Speaking of which, by the way, I think we mentioned at some point before the fact that it was available for sale. Like, oh, they translated it for the U.S.
No, it was always like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, the menu's in English, the voice acting's in English, but the subtitles are in Japanese.
Yeah, which is really funny. I guess they had always planned it for American release, and it just never happened.
Yeah, it's too bad, because that game is awesome.
What's pretty great is ever since the Wii, they have put Sin and Punishment on pretty much everything that they could have.
Yep.
Yeah, which is great.
I got it on Wii U via the Wii Shop, I think.
Yeah, and actually, it's more comfortable to play it with modern controls than it was ever with the N64. So it's actually better to play it that way. But they also confirmed that more stuff is coming past launch, including Majora's Mask, F-Zero X, Mario Golf, Pokemon Snap, Kirby 64, Paper Mario, and Banjo-Kazooie was another surprising one.
Majora's Mask? Can the Switch handle that without the RAM expansion pack?
Banjo-Kazooie was, of course, the surprise one there because obviously those are characters loaned from Microsoft.
I was going to say that's another third-party title because even back then it was a third-party title because it was Rare.
It was a second-party title at the time.
Second? Excuse me.
Yeah, but I guess there's hope that we can get Diddy Kong Racing, which would be really amazing.
Well, speaking of hope, you know what's missing? Because this was, like, I think it's still available on Wii U.
Donkey Kong 64.
Oh, is that? Well, I was thinking, well, actually, probably also Original Smash. Now that I think about it.
Oh yeah,
but
I don't expect that to ever be re-released.
But Ogre Battle 64.
Oh yeah. That's one. Ogre Battle is still on Wii U, I think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. 64. Yeah, it's on Wii U, but like, I'd rather I don't want to break out the Wii U to play it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to break out the Wii U for anything, honestly. Come on. But yeah, I mean, this is all the big games.
Those honestly, are very big.
There are only fringe games after all of these that have been announced. To be completely honest, the N64 was very first party heavy in terms of what's worth playing. And
Where's Quest 64? Riddle me that.
How about Mace? Remember Mace?
I remember the cover for Mace.
Yeah, everybody remembers the cover for Mace. How about Biofreaks? Come on.
I was actually thinking of Biofreaks.
Biofreaks is the most N64 ass fighting game that I can think of.
How about a fixed version of Space Station Silicon Valley?
That actually would be cool.
How about no? How about War Gods?
Yeah, there you go. That's an
I might
N64
actually still have that on
ass.
PC.
That's an N64 ass fighting game right there. All those Midway ones.
I was gonna say that's pre Mortal Kombat 4.
And Mortal Kombat 4 is also awful. Honestly.
It is, but they should have just left it at War Gods. That was their 3D experiment.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess they had to do something. But yeah, like I said, these are all the big games you could ever freaking want. I mean, like this is it. I mean, this is awesome. Like Smash is like the notable exception, but I like that hasn't been re-released since the original Wii.
Yeah, and this is also cheating because it's like you said, like it would be a Microsoft product, but like Jet Force Gemini, Perfect Dark. I would like to see Mischief Makers. Blast Corps
was a lot of fun.
Blast Corps is good. I would like to see Mischief Makers actually.
Oh yeah, Mischief Makers.
Like please port that game. It's so good.
Yeah, see, you would need Square Enix and Treasure to cooperate. Yeah, I don't know whether that would happen, but yeah, I love like I'm not everybody knows that I'm not a gigantic N64 fan, but I'm not a gigantic fan of the hardware. I don't like playing on it, but like these are my favorite games. I mean, you have Mario 64,
get
Star Fox 64.
Games.
Oh yeah, the Goemon games would be nice.
What are those?
I'm not gonna put that down. Yeah, Konami may even do a collection of those someday with the way they're going.
And considering how many games are on it, that'd be insane.
The Genesis games that they said they were going to release are also the hard-hitting games for the system.
Yeah.
They really went all out on this. I'm surprised, in fact. So I have to say that I have to preface this by saying that all of these games, save one, are available on the Switch already, but not in like a basically free form, and you know, like as a bonus, I guess, for in addition to online play, but they are all really not together, and also the Sega collection that's for the Switch has some very heavy input lag, and this is going to be a much better version of that, so this is worth it. So, right off the top, two of the best fucking games for the system that had a very hard time getting re-released are getting their due. Castlevania Bloodlines and Contra Hardcore. Again, these games are available on the Castlevania collection and the Contra collections that are already out there on Switch. However, they are so fucking good, I want everybody to have access to them. Like, no matter what. They are, like, the two of the best games ever. Honestly, I really love them. Of course, Dr. Robotnik's fucking Mean Bean Machine is on there. It's on every re-release of anything Sega related. They must have, like, absolutely every bit of rights, like, locked down for that game.
They really want to remind you of the Sonic cartoon where Jaleel White voices Sonic.
Yeah, they really want you to play Puyo Puyo, and, like, a weird version of it. The original Echo the Dolphin, which is actually getting some traction lately. People are talking about it.
That game's hard as shit, too.
It is hard as shit.
Like, you play the first level, you're like, I'm a dolphin, and then you get somewhere and you realize this is brutal.
Yeah, it is a very difficult puzzle game, and you don't realize that.
It's a good game, but, like, damn.
Yeah. The music and the atmosphere are unparalleled. Really, really cool. The original Golden Axe, which, you know, is pretty good.
Solid title.
Yeah. My favorite game of all time, Gunstar Heroes. Fuck yeah. Love Gunstar Heroes. Everybody should play Gunstar Heroes. One of the run and gun games of all time. Even better than Contra. Any of the Contras, if you ask me. It's really amazing. It's also the first game I ever bought with my own money. I love that game. Musha, which is the one game I was talking about, that is not on any of the current releases. This is an Eliste game. I've talked about the Eliste collection that came to the Switch and the PS4 recently, but this game was not on that. And Musha is one of the most expensive games for the Genesis, so the fact that everybody is getting access to play it is really amazing. It's probably in the top 3 shmups for the system. It's up there with Lightning Force and all the other really, really great shmups on the system. It might even be the best shmup on the system, honestly. It's really, really good. Phantasy Star 4, which is one of the best RPGs of all time. Kind of weird to put it there without 2 as well, but I'm sure that's coming down the line. But Phantasy Star 4 is the sequel to 2. It's not the sequel to 3.
Strange.
3 is kind of its own thing.
Okay.
3 is kind of almost like a Gaiden kind of game. It's off to the side. But the characters from 2 end up in 4. Then there's Ristar, which is an amazingly unsung game. It's really, really good. Made by Sonic Team. Really fun. Shining Force, one of the best RPGs for the system. We actually talked about Shining Force last week, right?
I believe so.
The cover of it. Yeah. A lot easier than Fire Emblem, and very similar. Shinobi 3, which is one of the best goddamn
I love Shinobi
character
3.
action games ever made. It's really fucking good. Until you hit the maze.
The second to
good.
Last level?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucked. But everything else, that game's great.
It's fucking good. The music is fucking amazing.
Ride the Whirlwind? Yeah.
Yeah. Sonic 2, which is interesting because they didn't put Sonic 1 on there, which is they came out with a bang. I mean, Sonic 2 is one of the best games ever made. I love Sonic 2.
Yeah, that was my first Genesis. That was my pack-in title.
Yeah, I mean, Sonic 2, everybody debates whether Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 is better, but I mean, that's a hell of a debate. Both are really awesome. So
yeah.
Sonic 2 is really good, even in its simplicity.
And both of them benefit with and Knuckles.
Yeah, exactly. And Knuckles. Streets of Rage 2, what do we even need to say about that?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite games on the system.
It's my second favorite game, right under Gunstar Heroes, and then my third favorite game has to be Rocket Knight Adventures, fucking Rocket Knight Adventures. But then Castlevania Bloodlines and Contra and Sonic 2 are all right there. Jesus Christ, they're all here. And
my favorite Chewie.
And Strider, a pretty decent version of Strider.
Yeah, so, you see the arcade game and you're like, you're not putting that in the Genesis, but it's not bad.
Back in the day, people were very happy with the Genesis version. Let's just put it that way.
Well, that was the whole thing with the Genesis. We've mentioned this before. Its first ever game was Altered Beast. We can bring the arcade to home.
It was pretty damn close.
Yeah, visually, it's quite good.
And then they also announced that they are coming out with N64 and Genesis controllers that you can get for your Switch. I thought the N64 one was pretty surprising because I wouldn't expect they would go back into manufacturing those analog sticks. But the weird decision was that the Genesis once again is getting the 3-button controller, where Japan's getting the 6-button.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's just it's the same thing that happened with the mini console.
Oh, that's absurd.
Nobody understands it other than people say, "Oh, well, it has more of a nostalgia factor, but it's less functional." So fuck off with that.
The 6-button controller is just By the way, speaking of Paprium, you want a 6-button controller for that.
I mean, if you currently play Genesis games, nobody wants that 3-button controller. I'm sorry. There might be a weirdo out there who thinks that's where it's at.
Well, I remember playing Mortal Kombat. You had to press A and B to do a high punch or something like that. It was something weird. You had to combine buttons to do high versus low because there's too many moves.
Start to block. I remember that. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
like there's a punch, because like there's high punch, low kick, block, and you only have 4 buttons. So what do you do?
yeah. Trust me. You want a 6-button controller. The 3-button is has an iconic shape. I'll give you that, but the D-pad is not as good as the 6-button one by a long shot. And the 6-button Genesis controller is. There's a reason why the Saturn has that, and then everybody says that the Saturn.
The Saturn just is the Sega 6-button controller, except with an L and R.
Correct, and that's why people call it the best 2D gamepad ever made. And,
it's very good.
It is. I would call it that, honestly. And so the Genesis 6-button controller is like very shy of that, and should be included. It's really stupid, especially if, I mean, there are way fucking many versions of Street Fighter on the Switch as of right now. But like, if they ever put Street Fighter for the Genesis on there, I mean, you're gonna have a hard time. But why would you ever play that version? You have an arcade perfect version of it, and then you have the Switch version with Violence Ken and Evil Ryu in it.
That's so good.
Violence Ken. But yeah, I mean, I'll pay a little extra money for all of this. I mean, honestly, having access to all of these on the go, I mean, some of the best RPGs ever made, and some really great multiplayer options there on the N64. I mean, this is going to be really cool. Moving on from that, they went over a bunch of different collections, but Run Trilogy was the first of them. They made 3 Shadowrun games for the PC about like 5 or 6 years ago, I believe, or maybe I'm dating myself, maybe it's even more than that, but they were basically successors to the Super Nintendo game, and they're all really good, and they're making it to Switch in a collection. That's amazing. But this was one that we kind of teased last week, Castlevania Advance Collection, with a surprise game in tow. So, of course, it has the 3 Game Boy Advance games. Again, Aria of Sorrow is the star of the show here. The other 2 are pretty good, but Aria of Sorrow is up there in terms of quality with Symphony of the Night, and it's the other ones that you really remember. It's up there with the DS games as well. And in fact, I played it this weekend, and I had a lot of fun. So I think that was the game that introduced the concept of every enemy having a unique ability that you can collect.
Yeah, rare drop.
Yeah. They Symphony of the Night always had like rare items, but they never gave you an ability, which is pretty cool. So this is something that they still do in Bloodstained. It was really a ton of fun farming bad guys and trying to collect their shard in Bloodstained, and this all started here. Every enemy in the game has a soul to collect, and it imparts a different ability or stat boost or whatever, and it's really fun to hunt them down. Some enemies are very elusive, so yeah, it adds a lot of replayability to this game. It's really, really fun. And the surprise game is Dracula X, but not the one you want.
Right.
But I actually like that they did this. So Dracula X, this is the SNES version, which is completely different and unique from the TurboGrafx one that everybody raves about. The TurboGrafx one has been re-released a lot since being elusive originally. It was one of those holy grail games that you always hoped that you could get your hands on. It was like a $100 game when nothing was $100 back then. It was, like back then, $100 game was where it tapped out. Which, man, I'm nostalgic for those times, aren't you?
Yeah, right.
Where $100 game is the one that's out of reach, right?
Yep.
Now games are worth thousands of dollars for ridiculous reasons. But yeah, back then, like games like Radiant Silvergun and Dracula X Rondo of Blood were the games that everybody seeked out and were talked about in rumor and like in retro circles as like, oh, this is the secret Castlevania game that nobody got a fucking chance to play because it was on an obscure system that like an obscure format for an obscure system and only in Japan. But we got in the US the SNES version of Dracula X, which is a completely reworked game with the same characters. So it has completely different levels and not as many people to rescue, or there were 4 people to rescue, I think, in the TurboGrafx version. But this one only has 2, just Maria and the main character, and the girlfriend of Richter. But I don't think Maria was even playable in this version. But a lot of people consider it to be not as good. And it isn't, but it doesn't get its due. Everybody rags on it, but I'm convinced they haven't played it. It has its moments. It's a good Castlevania game. I played this game ever since back then. I always enjoyed it. It's difficult, but I mean, what Castlevania game isn't? I really like it, and I really like the music in it too. So I'm glad that it's finally like when stuff gets ported, the Limelight game always gets ported, and this one always gets overlooked. Keep in mind that Rondo of Blood, the TurboGrafx version, is available on the PS4 along with Symphony of the Night. So it's not like that game got shunned over this one. It's more like kind of the PS4 version. People have mined it and found out that it's an emulated version of the PSP game. So it's not going to come out on anything else, if that's the case. So it's a PlayStation exclusive whether you like it or not. So it is available either way. But I'm very happy. I mean, with this collection, I mean, it has it's made by M2. They tried to clean up the music the best they could on these games because these games had some grainy ass, like really decompressed music. Unfortunately, just because of the nature of the hardware. But they made the games look good and control well. And what else could you really want other than that? They added rewind and fast forward functionality. Save states and all that jazz. And also a really nice looking gallery of all the artwork, which is the artwork for these games is really, really phenomenal.
And one other thing I wanted to throw out, by the way, because this is something that I think might be Japan exclusive. But as of September 27th, which is tomorrow for us, but yesterday for people who are listening to the podcast, reservations are going up for something that's going to release on December 15th. But it is, like, insane for soundtracks. It's, like, in Japan, it's not called Castlevania, it's called Akumajo Dracula.
Yeah.
So there are 13 CD sets for soundtracks.
Can you link this to me?
Yeah, music.
Goddamn.
Well, I don't have a link for the reserve. I just have a link for the fact that it's going to happen.
Okay.
But music from Akumajo Dracula Black, music from Akumajo Dracula Red. Each of those is where's the price? 14,300 yen. So like 130 to 140 bucks.
Yeah.
Per box for 2 boxes. But Black is going to have, where's the thing? It's 13 discs for each. Black is going to have the music of, I think, 25 games, and Red is going to have 11 games. I don't know what
Which
games
ones are
and what
which?
tracks they're going to have,
Yeah.
but what we do know is this is going to be the first ever soundtrack release for Legacy of Darkness
Oh, wow.
on like N64, Dracula XX,
Which is
and
the SNES Dracula X game.
okay, and the Western NES versions of 2 and 3. I hope to God they keep the Japanese version for 3 though. And
Yeah.
confirmed for the red set is the entire Ecclesia OST, which if you were to buy that separately, that's like if you were to buy like the old release of that, it is exceedingly expensive now. Like both box sets combined, I think might be less than what just Ecclesia goes for normally. So the entire Ecclesia OST, the Saturn exclusive tracks for Symphony of the Night,
Oh, wow.
and
That's
the
cool.
bonus disc that came with the soundtrack for Lament of Innocence.
Oh, wow.
What else is
Some obscure
confirmed for
stuff
this? Yeah, like what else is confirmed for this and which tracks? I don't know, but like, damn, that is soundtrack and a half. If you've ever wanted Castlevania music, like this is more than you could have ever hoped for.
All the versions of Bloody Tears you could ever want.
Yeah, right. Why doesn't Castlevania 1 have Bloody Tears?
But yeah, that's fantastic. Castlevania is probably my favorite old school franchise, and the music is a big part of it, for sure. So yeah, I mean, yeah, they named the Dracula X for SNES in Japan Dracula XX to differentiate it from the regular Dracula X. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I can only hope that Konami keeps seeing the good sales of these, because I think a lot of people bought this like right away. And they do a Rebirth collection and a Castlevania DS collection. I would really, really hope that they do that. And if they do a Castlevania DS, throw in like Contra 4 as a bonus. That would be awesome. Because that game was awesome and is stuck on the original DS, unfortunately. So
that never made it to Wii U.
Nope. Contra 4 is a uniquely DS title.
Okay.
The Wii has the Rebirth games.
Okay.
So, anyway, Contra Rebirth is like one of my favorite games ever. I really fucking love that game. It is really a shame that nobody got a chance to play it. But anyway, moving on. Out of nowhere, an ActRaiser remake.
Yeah, finally.
And one that's kind of odd. Like, people are like, I don't know, it's not bad, but like, it's not what we wanted. Like, kind of thing.
That's kind of the thing. Yeah.
It has pre-rendered graphics, not like 3D graphics like you think. Like Donkey Kong Country pre-rendered kind of stuff going on. It's just like an odd game. The action sections are apparently pretty fun, but the simulation games are really extended, and a big part of the reason why ActRaiser 1 was really good was that the simulation was fun and snappy. It didn't get bogged down in the intricacies of playing like SimCity or something like that. So it was fun and snappy. And this is not that way. And they added a lot of exposition. So it's a bit of an odd duck, and apparently it doesn't run well on the Switch. Like, why not? I don't know, because it doesn't look all that great. But apparently it's not a terrible game, and if anything, you can get it for Yuzo Koshiro's fantastic soundtrack, and that he apparently completely remastered and redid for the game. And you can listen to the original version, which is he held it as the crowning achievement of the Super Famicom's sound chip until Nobuo Uematsu got to it.
Wow.
So he said the only person that's ever been able to beat me is him. So
Damn.
yeah, when I think he said when Final Fantasy IV came out, he was just like, oh god.
Yeah.
And then six
that game
six
came
just
out
blows
swinging.
you out of the six. It has probably the best.
6 isn't even fair.
Super Nintendo soundtrack.
Although 5 does have Battle on the Big Bridge, is very good, but yeah, like 6 is, or Clash on the Big Bridge, but yeah, 6 is just, 6 and 4 are just killer.
But keep in mind, Yuzo Koshiro also made this in the launch window of the system, so like he had the best soundtrack for a long time for the SNES, and it doesn't even sound like his stuff. It's like it's its own thing, but it's very orchestrated and really cool. I love that soundtrack. It's really good. And then on the heels off of last episode, Deltarune episode 2 is showing up for free on the Switch, just like everywhere else.
Well, there you go.
And it's just a free update. If you want to, if you never downloaded the first game, you can download them both at the same time now, which is pretty cool. And then Hamster released Arcade Archives, Pac-Man, and Xevious. 2 separate releases, but they had never done a Namco game before, so this is a good place to start with Pac-Man and Xevious. I will say, though, that Namco is as a company, is probably one of the best at re-releasing their old games. So finding a copy of Pac-Man has not been hard, or Xevious, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to more of the obscure games later on. Maybe some Rolling Thunder 2 or Rolling Thunder 3. But Rolling Thunder 3 is a Genesis only title, so maybe I can hope for it to hit the Genesis collection up there, but we'll see. And then Mario movie, goddamn.
Yeah, I mean, what more needs to be said? Moving on.
Yeah, we have to talk about that.
There's a lot of bizarre information about this one, because they came out with who's voicing various characters,
which I thought they were joking at first.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, because it's just like, and the
Charles
voice of Mario.
Charles Martinet, famous voice of Mario, has like a cameo or some kind of role in the movie, I think.
So the way I think it's going to go,
which I appreciate, by the way.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't stonewall him, because he is absolutely the identity of Mario basically ever since the N64 one. Don't at me. I know he voiced him before that in a fucking computer game, but
the reason I appreciate that it's that kind of role, like I said this on Twitter as well. Like he says Yahoo and Okie dokie, like. You don't want to hear him speaking full sentences for a whole movie. And some people responded, he's done sentences before, and I listened to them from Arthi just typing in stuff, and it's fucking weird. Keep him in a cameo role, please.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically a silent character that makes, exclamations. Exclamations. So, and so same thing with Luigi.
Bowser is about as good as it gets. Thank you for playing my game.
So, I get what they're doing here. They're probably going to do is they're probably going to have Mario be in kind of like the video game world for a bit, and then they'll have him transition to something else, and then have him have a real voice. You know what I mean?
That's probably to do that. Isn't it like Illumination Studios? The whole thing's CG. Why isn't he in video game world all the time?
No, but you know what I mean. Like they like he'll escape from the Mushroom Kingdom or something. Kind of like they did in Wreck-It Ralph. In the Mushroom Kingdom, maybe he just sounds like Mario, but when he leaves that place, he'll have a real voice.
When he comes out, he's cartoon Mario, like Brooklyn voice. Oh, that sure was weird, Luigi.
You know what I mean? So apparently, Chris Pratt is the voice of Mario, which is weird.
Yeah, that would be my first choice too. I think my favorite reveals were Michael Keegan Key as Toad. And every single person who learned that posted that substitute teacher clip from Key and Peele. You know that one?
You done fucked up, Aaron.
You done fucked up, Aaron.
Yeah.
You are being insubordinate and churlish. It's my favorite.
I love the football roll call. Fudge. Oh,
Quattro,
man.
quattro, quattro.
It's so good. But anyway, yeah, Jack Black as Bowser.
Yes, Bowser. And Charlie Day as Luigi.
Charlie Day as Luigi. Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach.
Yeah, and, like,
Seth
fucking
Rogen
Seth
as
Rogen.
Donkey Kong.
Did you see, like, it's not on Donkey's channel, because, like, people sometimes post clips of his streams, which they probably shouldn't do, but they do. But did you see the clips of, like, Donkey reacting, like, actually reacting to the news as he heard it? Because, like, 5 rolls in a row. Like, what the fuck? Like, Michael Keegan Key, what the fuck? And there was one part where he was just laughing, and then Seth Rogen comes on, and he doesn't even have anything to say. He just laughs much harder. Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong. I was like, what?
Yeah, Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong. Fred Armisen is Cranky Kong, like in a Mario movie. Cranky Kong.
Cranky Kong's never been in Mario, unless, the original Donkey Kong. But, like,
Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamek, and Sebastian Maniscalco as fucking Spike. You know who Spike is? He's a little guy that you beat in the little fort in Mario 3. Like the mini boss.
the Triceratops?
No, the little guy that waves his hands around and you bump him on the head.
Oh, okay.
In Mario 3. So, yeah, very odd.
I just like that they're like, starring this famous actor as Kamek. Do you even know who Kamek is?
I mean, Kamek does show up pretty prominently in a couple of the games, so
no,
I'll
I know,
give
but
him that.
it just amuses me because, like, they're catering to a mainstream audience with big name Hollywood actors, but then they're like, as Kamek. Like, who the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, this is made by the Despicable Me people, so, I mean, they make a good movie. I like those movies, so, like, they're good kid movies, so,
they got good fluid CG.
Also, the rating will probably be pretty good, but, like, also, this is not for me. Like,
I'm not gonna watch it.
It's not.
Everyone's going, they're having this actor cast as him. What the fuck? Like, I wasn't. Gonna
This is
watch
for
it.
kids. I mean, come on. I mean,
I hope they bring lots of spaghetti.
lasagna.
I want to hear Chris Pratt say, "You know what they say? A toaster toasts toast."
But yeah, I mean, very odd. But we'll see, I guess. Then they announced Splatoon 3, which surprised the hell out of me. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, Splatoon has always been great. Watching people be really good at Splatoon is a lot of fun, especially like in games done quick.
Yeah, Splatoon is very fun to watch in games done quick.
I like the single player mode, and they confirmed that there is a significant single player mode in this, so I'm very happy about that because the single player mode is a lot of fun. And I'm not much of a competition guy online, so that is why I would buy this, because I really like the one player mode in 1 and 2. So the boss battles are a lot of fun in Splatoon, so I'm looking forward to it. And then they bookended it with something that everybody really wanted to see. They even said it. They were like, we announced this 4 years ago. And
that was a meme online. Like, number of days since we've gotten information on X, and the number just keeps climbing.
So actual gameplay and of Bayonetta 3 coming next year.
Looks rad.
It looks amazing. Looks great. It is true to form, and it's everything you could ever want, except not being on a different console.
Actually, I was just going to say, there's that, but I was going to say, this is the first Bayonetta game that was specifically designed for the Switch. So it's going to really... Because Bayonetta 1 was, like...
multi-platform game.
It was a 360 game that had a mediocre port to the PS3. So it was a 360 game that got on the Switch and looked good enough, because... This was the 720p era. Mm-hmm. Bayonetta 2 was on Wii U, so the Switch was a step up for a Wii U game. But Bayonetta 3 is made for the Switch. Like, they're really going to push this to the limit, I think, for what the Switch is capable of doing.
It looks pretty amazing. So the only thing is that people are complaining that it's not coming to other consoles. Well,
yeah, I am
this
thinking
is a
like,
Nintendo franchise at this point. You have
at this
to
point,
understand.
yeah, Bayonetta 1 could be ported, but the others. But yeah, I was kind of thinking though, like, oh, imagine if this were on Steam or something, how crazy it would look. But if it's made for the Switch, then I have faith it's gonna perform well.
Platinum makes good games, and they perform well on the things that they're released for. So I don't think you're gonna have to worry, honestly. Just three. That's the conclusion of Nintendo Direct. I know we're running late. Just like three little things here. The trailer for Halloween Kills just dropped. It looks amazing. I'm very excited. This is the sequel to Halloween, which is the sequel of Halloween.
Yeah.
They should have named that movie something else, because both Halloweens are good. Well, there's actually 3 movies called Halloween now, but there's the Rob Zombie Halloween that nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Halloween, the last reboot movie, it's the one that should basically be the real Halloween 2, with Jamie Lee Curtis coming back. It was really awesome. And she's going to be in this one, Halloween Kills, and they're putting it out in time for Halloween. Thankfully. It always amazes me that horror movies don't always hit Halloween.
Yeah, it's like summer or winter.
Yeah, they're either too late or too early.
It's like August or like January.
They are releasing this with enough time to watch it, to be in the spirit, which is awesome. Like, don't release it actually on Halloween, because the majority of people are going to see it after that. Let's face it. So this is great. They're going to release it on Peacock and in theaters on the 15th of October, which is perfect. Perfect timing. Rewatch that reboot movie. It is really good. So it's made by the same team of people, so I'm really looking forward to it. And I really wanted to see what they're going to do to bring Michael back in this one, because it's pretty overt that he's you don't actually see him die, but he is in a burning fucking house. He is trapped in a burning house. So I don't know how he gets out of it, or
it'll be like Donald Pleasance. You're gonna remove Michael Myers' mask, and he'll have a little burn on his cheek, but he'll be fine.
I don't think they're going to be that stupid. I think they will maybe have a copycat character, because this series has kind of pointed out that all of the sequels before this were really dumb and fantastical, and like the reboot movie was like, no, we're bringing this back to its its original premise. This is just a crazy person, and he's just killing whatever he sees. He has no motive, and that's actually scarier. He's just a force of nature, just coming to kill you. He's Jaws with a knife. He's walking Jaws with a knife, and that kind of fits. He's just a mindless killing guy, and there's no depth to him. He's just uncontrolled id, and like if you try to study him, you're gonna get nothing out of it. He's just a crazy person who kills everything he sees. That's it. So, like, he doesn't have superpowers. They were. He's a human being, so a very strong human being, but a human being. So, I think they're going to play off of that, or at least I hope, because why invalidate all the points you made? I mean, it's happened before, but I hope that's not the case.
Well, I hope they bring back Busta Rhymes.
That's part of the old sequels. That doesn't count. Was that Insurrection?
Or maybe, or like H2O or something.
Resurrection. No, it's Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Yeah, Resurrection. H2O was the one before that. I think Busta Rhymes dies. But anyway, looking forward to that. And happy birthday, both Castlevania and Dark Souls.
Yeah, Castlevania is 35 years old. Dark Souls is 10. By the way, there's something even more important. Dark Souls turns 10 years old on September 22nd.
Mm.
But something else did too. Do you know what that was?
I don't know. I might have overlooked it.
Oh, this is a black mark on your checklist, my friend, because you missed the most important YouTube video of all time. Now do you know?
Is it that kid saying it's Pikachu and then he's wrong?
Yeah.
And
Fuck!
God damn it!
God damn it! No, it's not that one.
That one's pretty great.
It is Potion Seller.
It's what?
Potion Seller.
Oh!
I'm going into battle and need your strongest potions. My potions are too strong for you, traveler. Potion Seller? No more, enough games.
No, absolutely look that up. If you don't know what he's talking about, or even if you do, it is still funny.
My potions are for the strongest, and you are of the weakest. You're a rascal. You're a rascal.
That's up there with some of the best, like, of that era. It's really fucking good. It's still funny every time you watch it.
Why should I need a knight when my potions can do anything you can? It's great.
It's also like it fits in your D&D campaign.
I tell you, I am going into battle. I need your strongest potions.
No, they're too strong.
My potions would kill a dragon, let alone a man.
Makes you think of Eye of the
kill
Dragon.
A beast. Yeah.
Eye of
the Dragon?
Yeah.
Because the word dragon happens?
No, but like, you know, like the poison that he uses in that is like fucked
That was some
up.
good shit.
Yeah. But anyway.
He put on a magical power glove, handled the potion as quickly as possible, and his hand was still red and swollen when he was done.
Yeah,
like,
beet red.
You think you got him?
Didn't he like distill it out of like some like really weird
yeah, he had
like,
this spider that he kept feeding more and more fucked up things to, so it was getting all fat and bloated, and he kept feeding it with more and more toxic stuff. So he put on the magic glove and crushed the spider in his hand. So just crushing the spider and dripping the potion into the bowl, like whatever residue landed on his glove, like when he in the act of crushing the spider, that fucked his hand up. Like, This is like the scariest potion I've ever seen.
Yeah, I love that book. It is underrated.
And this is Randolph Flagg, by the way. He's like a big bad in multiple Stephen King books, and this potion was bad enough to affect him.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He is Walter O'Dim. He is
through a specifically designed magic glove to protect against this thing. Like, this potion, like, just get some poison from the fucking store, dude. You didn't need this.
You could cyanide would have
Yeah,
sufficed.
you could literally just go to the store, like cyanide rat poison or something. It's fine. Like, no, I have to make the potion so scary that touching it fucks me up through a magic glove.
You can make cyanide out of stone fruit. I mean, that's where they got it from.
Apple seeds.
Yeah, exactly. Well, stone fruit is like much more concentrated than
stone.
Stone.
I need a potion of stone.
But yeah, Eye of the Dragon, very underrated Stephen King classic.
That's one, maybe my favorite Stephen King book. It's way up there.
It's way up there for me as well. And it's also one that nobody fucking talks about.
Yeah.
But
so anyway, happy decade, Dark Souls.
Yeah, and no notable deaths that I know of, so that's good.
Yeah, we used them all up last week.
Jesus Christ. Hell yeah, we did. And that is the show for this week. We want to thank all of our fans who contributed questions. This is the wrong fucking shit. That is the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to Corrective Consciousness YouTube and Soundcloud pages. If you want to leave a question, go for it. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. Maybe I'll read the right fucking script. You can... And why do I even need a script? I've been reading the same shit for 5 years. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness. At least I don't stutter anymore. The podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. God damn it. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much goddamn everything.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, I just started Onimusha.
Oh,
first Onimusha.
Which version are you
PS2.
gonna play? Oh, okay.
PS2.
I was wondering whether you were gonna go for the modern release.
Nah, because they're never gonna do 2 and 3.
Okay, fair enough.
So, getting in exclusive live streams, like Onimusha, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord. Then please consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/lotusprince.
Well, that's just prime. We'll catch everybody on Thursday then for the remainder of our conversation on the life and tribulations of Norm Macdonald.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.